What little I've learned about jazz. Take Five took me to teach me the bridge back. Every lash bared to bind pontoons of generational tradition. 'Twas the white man who brought us cornbread, crumb jamboree, modeling inequity's tempo, the infinite calm, a shroud of universal listening. Touching what's required to hear the essence of a tune, the soundtrack of slave salvation, holding it in your ear and running alongside musicians, leaking instruments, exploring, held up and upon, dripping round and beneath, to a metronome of the American KK can damnation. The trusted return of lessons learned, freedom alerts the plantations grown, the way that so many ignorant have found their way to the music, to the jazz, who still find their way in emotional unapologies, to the edge, to the shoreline, where harmonic reverberations leap the last league for those who still find their way. They arise in angles, cement earth sprouting, glazed, riveted steel, filled and emptied, elevators and relaxavators, doormats and hinges, air conditioners and indigent dissipators, a place safe enough for business to be done. Appointments are made, our dermises are fledged, oiled. We wrap these arms and legs, so many windows washed, so many pipes and alleyways, so many calculations and interactions, and there are moments by the coffee pot, details traded on the street, and above the same conversations among neckties and pantyhose, white powders for our warm bean juice, Converse, work boots, pumps, blue inks for our cold, sharp invoices. Even here, the bow slithers undone. We wrap our arms and legs. So many ribbons replaced, so many culverts and cabinets, so many integers for the calculations, and there are envelopes for the refuse. Details traded on the street, and without other conversations among doorknobs and broomsticks, Oxfords, ballet flats and kitten heels, sanitizers for our adorned brittle flesh, and validation for our metered parking. And even here, our thighs are reflecting. We wrap our arms and legs. So many liners laid, so many stitchers and stops, so many horizons for the gazing, and we wrap our arms and legs. Our dermises are fledged, oiled. Appointments are made in a place safe enough for business to be done. Air conditioners and indigent dissipators, doormats and hinges, elevators and relaxavators, filled and emptied, cement, earth, sprouting, glazed, riveted steel, they arise in angles. I can't claim this one, only the mashup. So this is titled Smooth Takeaway, and it's a mashup of Berlin's song Take My Breath Away and Sade's Smooth Operator. Watching in slow motion in my lover's foolish game, diamond life, lover boy, he moved in space with minimum waste and maximum joy. On this endless ocean, finally lovers know no shame, city lights and business lights when you require streetcar desire for higher heights. Turning and returning to some secret place inside, watching in slow motion as you turn my way and say, no place for beginners or sensitive hearts. When sentiment is left to chance, no place for ending but somewhere to start. Take my coast to coast. LA to Chicago, Western Mail, across the North and South to Key Largo, love for sale. Watching, I keep waiting, still anticipating love, never hesitating to become the fated ones. Turning and returning to some secret place inside. No need to ask face to face each classic case. We shadow box and double cross, yet need to chase. Watching in slow motion as you turn to me and say, through the hourglass I saw you, in time you slipped away. If only for today I am unafraid, watching in every motion the lover's foolish game, haunted by the notion somewhere there's a love in flame, a license to love, insurance to hold, melts all your memories and change into gold. His eyes are like angels, but his heart is cold, turning and returning, watching in slow motion as you turn my way and say, smooth operator, take my breath away.
Hi, I'm Andy O, host of The Night Side, Sunday nights at 9 on KUVO Jazz, that would be 89.3. And I'm joined by Philip Tran, one of 5 hosts of the open mic for poetry at the Mercury Cafe. And really glad to have you here, Philip.
It's a real pleasure to be here, Andy. Thank you for having me.
And soon to not be the Mercury.
It's true.
As we speak, it's still the Mercury.
It's true. We're in the last week. We're savoring those last Merc moments. But come next week, it will be known as the Pearl.
Well, that's where I met you, I think.
At the Merc?
Yeah, at the Mercury, I'm pretty sure.
It.
So about that, what's the challenge of, hosting an event like that? Is it like herding cats?
The Merc Poetry Night has been around for a long time. And if the Merc's draw is a bunch of cats, then they're pretty well behaved. The most tenuous part of the whole thing is always the sign up, and I'm sure you're familiar with that. And trying to set a specific time and place so that it's uniformly known, it's never followed.
Let the trampling begin.
It's true. The trampling begins, and then invariably you have somebody who asks you, my mom's in town, and she's just they implore you, they will throw money at you. And, you bend, somebody's grandpa's dying, and then invariably that's the poem that just really kills the mood in the room, and you regret it.
Oh, boy. So you've got a show coming up, Jazz and Shibari?
It's true.
Tell me about this.
Well, I've been watching Gabe and the Messenger Collective at the Mercury Cafe for years.
Yeah.
And anyone who's been down there on Friday night has seen these guys really since COVID and long before that, just tearing it up, making an awesome spot for jazz artists of all ranges, all skill levels to come down and just jam.
All ages,
yeah. Yeah, it's regularly see kids right out of high school bands coming down there. And after watching these folks for a long time, I really wanted to give them more of an opportunity to get out there in the world, what little world I had, and that I had a bunch of folks in another community, in the Shibari community, that I know are looking for a chance to perform, and I want to try to push those folks up to the forefront as well. And the idea of combining these two together was really born. How can we get these two communities to come together, maybe expose each other to something they hadn't seen before in a way they hadn't seen before? And so it was born. Bound by the Beat is a whole night of jazz, live jazz, 45-minute sets with performers all around the room doing all sorts of different rope acts. And then we repeat this process 4 times throughout the night and really just create more jazz and rope than you could possibly take in one night.
Fascinating. How did the Shibari come about for you? Did you know somebody doing that, or?
Well, I hesitate to tread too much into this world on public radio, but we all get curious and exploratory, and maybe even somebody asks you, hey, you want to try something different? And you could say it's just a bunch of tying knots, but I think a lot of people really find it to be so much more of a creative tool.
Sure.
That they can learn some of the more basic things around Shibari and apply that to other things that they like, and really multiply the enjoyment.
Yeah. What's your process for writing poetry? You write some really wonderful stuff. And
thank you.
What is it when you're does it come out of nowhere, or do you hammer it out, or both? Or
Well, chasing inspiration or the muse is a process that I have always been protective of, trying to create that space for it to manifest, right? To have the right attitude around writing. And sometimes I'll want to write a poem, but not have necessarily the inspiration. And those are frustrating moments that I will put my pen down. There's this one poem about the elfin tailor that describes this tailor whose job it is to create things, and he some days wakes up with the idea of what he wants to write or wants to make, and goes around searching for the fabric. And some days he goes around and he just runs into fabric that just begs to be made into something. And then the worst days are the days where he has neither the inspiration nor the material to find, and those are the bad days for the elfin tailor, right? My approach to writing is to just enjoy the bad days too.
Yeah.
If you don't have the materials, that's all a seed for tomorrow, where that nice piece of leather will come into your mind, or this vision of a shoe that you must create.
So, what's it like for you, a guy from the 20th century, being a poet in the 21st century?
Wow. Well, I remember that moment where you're supposed to pick your career. You know, what will define you? And being a poet never seemed to be something that you could call a career, right? I'm going to go out and make money doing poetry. Always in the passion category.
Yeah.
But always, if you were to be at a dinner party and introduce yourself, hi, my name's Philip the Poet, I think everyone's eyes roll whether or not you see them roll or not. So being a poet, I think, is in today's world, is reconciling that and trying to still hold on to that candle that is bright inside you, even when the world might look at stuffy poetry as kind of a redheaded stepchild of the art world. I've always thought that maybe here in that rebel notion of just stringing words together and making art, that I've found a great place to flex.
Yeah. Well, they're going to continue with poetry at the Pearl.
It's true. It's true. It's been one of the promises from the beginning of every conversations I've had with them, is the art will continue at the Pearl.
That's wonderful. So we can expect to see you there still.
Absolutely, absolutely. And every Friday night is a poetry open mic that goes on right after the jazz. And so all of your listeners have 2 reasons to come down to the Merc, starting at 6 when the Messenger Collective starts, and then it goes all the way till midnight. It's a great night, and it's only going to get better as the Pearl takes over.
That's great. Thanks for coming.
My privilege. Thanks for having me, Andy.
Sure, you bet.